humans do. But so do atoms.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Science rules.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Inertia is a property of matter. T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Brought to you by Elements, building your world one atom at a time. Chemical bonds simply form because atoms become most stable when they are bonded together. They want a full outer shell of electrons, so they lose, gain, or share electrons with other elements, forming compounds, until they have 8 valence electrons and become stable. An ionic bond is formed when one atom loses its electrons to the other atom. The electron completely transfers from one atom to the other. Covalent bond is when atoms share their valence electrons, causing them to both achieve a stable outer energy level. A molecule, usually pertaining to a covalent bond, is the smallest physical unit of an element or compound, consisting of one or more like atoms in an element and 2 or more different atoms in a compound. Whereas a formula unit, usually pertaining to an ionic bond, is a chemical formula with the least number of elements out of the empirical formula. Here we have chlorine, our nonmetal. She has 7 valence electrons, as you can see. Here is sodium, our metal. He has 1 valence electrons. If these atoms collide, chlorine will remove the electron from sodium. Sodium loses its only electron and becomes a positively charged ion. The extra electron for chlorine provides a stable 8 valence electrons, which makes chlorine a negatively charged ion. And there you have it, ionic bonding. Some examples of ionic compounds are sodium fluoride, calcium chloride, and sodium chloride, otherwise known as salt. We mostly know salt as a condiment and a food preservative, but it's also used in making glass, and soap, and saline, and many, many more. Our biggest source of salt is in our seas and our oceans. Did you know that China is the largest salt producer in the world? Although the United States is closely following. Take a look at this. An oxygen atom has 6 valence electrons and needs 2 in order to complete the second energy level. As both oxygens collide, covalent bonding occurs as they share their electrons. By both atoms sharing 2 electrons, they both contain 8 valence electrons, making them happy as can be. A polar bond is an uneven sharing of electrons. In this case, where the electrons tend to gravitate more towards one bond than the other, so they will still share electrons, except the electrons will spend more time around one of the elements as opposed to equally around both. Some examples of polar covalent compounds are sulfur dioxide, ethanol, and water, otherwise known as H2O. 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 We use it to drink, to watch, to rinse, to clean, to cook, to flush, to float, and many, many, many more. The exact origin of our planet's water, which covers about 70% of the Earth's surface, is still one of the biggest mysteries. But I can tell you now, our H2O comes from the sky, the ocean, and beneath the Earth's surface. The water you drink is the same water that's been around since before the dinosaurs existed. And a water molecule can spend 30 to 100 years in the ocean before going through the water cycle, and up to 10,000 years in the deep underground caves. Metallic bonding is the bonding between two metals. It is a sea of electrons held together by a force between the valence electrons and the metal cations. The electrons act as glue that hold together. They are also always moving, so the bonding acts in all directions. Some examples of metallic compounds are brass, phosphor bronze, and steel.
Consider the following.
As we know, a covalent bond is when atoms share their electrons. A nonpolar bond is when the atoms share their electrons equally. This would be as if two friends shared a sandwich and split it exactly in half, making them both happy. Consider the following.
Bill,
Yeah?
the camera's rolling.
Oh, we are?
That's awkward.
Oops. Well, hi everyone. In this very flask, I have air. And air contains two of the examples of non-polar compounds, which are oxygen, what we breathe, and carbon dioxide, what we exhale. Then again, another example of a non-polar compound is hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe and is found in water, natural gas, and many other sources. It can be used for fuel for rockets, clean fuel for cars, and used as a lifting agent. As a matter of fact, Germans used Zeppelins to transport people back in the day, and their Zeppelins were filled with hydrogen. One of them was named the Hindenburg, and it crossed the Atlantic 17 times. But in 1937, an electrical spark ignited, and the highly flammable hydrogen, boom! No more Hindenburg. Isn't that wild?
Because you know I'm all about the bonds, yes, bonding. I'm all about the bonds, yes, bonding. I'm all about the bonds, yes, bonding. I'm all about the bonds, bonds. Yeah, you might not think that what I'm saying is true, but I can show you what all the elements do. Cause I got ionic and covalent bonds. They're easily found in so many places. Yeah, there's metallic and there's non-polar bond. We got some polar too. No, I will not stop. Cause there is bonding. So put them up, cause every bond has its difference and it'll take some thought. Mr. Nucci, she told me that bonding is pretty neat. Whoa. Students forget the fifth subject is chemistry. The subject. We know there's ionic and some covalent bonds to you. Whoa. If you listen and learn the difference, it's best for you. Because you know I'm all about the bonds, yes, bonding. I'm all about the bonds, yes, bonding. I'm all about the bonds, yes, bonding. I'm all about the bonds, Y'all do know I'm all about the bonds, yes, bonding. I'm all about the bonds, yes, you know I'm about the bonds.
Well, that's our show. And thanks for watching. But remember, bonding isn't just spending time with your loved ones. It's a mutual attraction between atoms, resulting in a redistribution of their outer electrons.
It's all about Sydney. It's all about Sydney.
The second energy level. As both of you guys, like, I can't hear one of you, like, exhale.
Sorry, what?
We have to.
Oh, hi, Mr. Newton.
Yeah.
Can I?
And so.
Salt Shaker was harmed during the making of this movie.
You broke the salt shaker.
You're lying.
So it's going.
Oh, I messed up my line. Oh, good. What did you call it?
Ragdoll.
Ragar.
Ragarm.